All right, everybody. This is Jeanne Russell with Dolphin Touch Wellness Center and Conscious Conversations with Jeanne. And today my guest is Opinder Doel, and she has been with us for a long time over here at Dolphin Touch and on the island and doing her amazing work. And why don't you tell people about yourself and just let the world know who you are.
Oh, wow. Well, a little bit about myself. Where to start from? I have been doing, I guess, on this path or journey for quite a while. I fell into my lap maybe 20 years, about 20 years ago, give or take. And just a little bit of background. Yeah, Jeanne, I don't know if you know all of this too there, but when I was 19, I was in a really bad car accident, and that led me on a healing journey, trying to figure out how to heal and how to get better. Tried many different modalities. Then I found this thing, a specific modality called network spinal analysis, and I was such a skeptic. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I'm like, how is this stuff gonna work? You mean they're just gonna touch my spine and it's gonna heal my body? Because I was in so much pain. I couldn't, when I would walk, my spine would hurt. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't run, basically so much. So it was outside of my box, you know, this modality, like way outside of my box. And I trusted. Some days just go, and I went and had a session and I felt some relief. It didn't make any logical sense in any way, shape, or form at all. My body felt something, and at that point I started realizing I could trust my body, even though my mind didn't quite the two didn't connect at that point. So that was pretty big. That was where it opened up so many other things for me, and I became a chiropractic assistant for many, many years. I was going to become a chiropractor, but the thought of going to school for that moment just didn't resonate. And the man who created network spinal analysis, Dr. Don Epstein, created something called somato-respiratory integration, the 12 stages of healing. And that resonated with me. So I became an SRI practitioner. I'll talk more about that later, but that's a different approach. I found there's many different approaches with working with mind, body, spirit, which many people probably know, of course. And that resonated with me. It was an approach that, number one, it assisted me and changed my life. And number two, it was, I just felt the essence of it. It was very powerful. So that's hence started the journey. And then from there, other modalities came into my life. Different energy work, different healers. I have been blessed with many, many amazing teachers, which I'm very grateful for. Leading up to becoming a Reiki master, Jeanne here is my teacher. And so that's a little bit of background. So what I do is I integrate the different modalities that I've learned over the last 20 years plus to assist people in connecting with their hearts again. Everybody has different baggage that they're carrying around. Some people are aware of it, some people aren't. Some people have a physical ailment. Some people it's emotional, and really being able to, I guess, customize what each individual person needs to empower them in their journey. And that might be a little vague of saying what it is that I do, but everybody's so different. And
that's the hardest thing to talk about ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's a hard one. So it's one of my areas that I am continuously working on and stepping outside of my box.
And so that's here for Opie, to push you outside your box.
That's, I know, Jeanne loves doing that with me.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's what I do. And actually, it's also giving people tools that they can implement into their daily lives, because everybody is so different. Yeah. And sometimes people are having a physical symptom, but it's not physical. It's the emotions that they've been carrying for such a long time and don't know how to get them out. Sometimes it could be physical, but that triggers more emotions that just get locked in the nervous system, you know? And
Absolutely, yeah.
so that's what I do
Awesome.
in a nutshell.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I know it's hard to put it into words exactly, you know, who you are and what you do and all of that. So as we're, you know, as you're going through everything, and of course with this pandemic is
Mm-hmm.
brought up a lot. Now we have rioting, and that's bringing up stuff. What do you see as something that would be the most helpful for individuals right now?
Mm-hmm.
Something that could help them through some of these tough times.
Wow. There's a lot of things, you know, that people can do. I'm finding that one is I'm gonna say going back within, um, finding some. When I say going back within, I mean there's so much going on right now, COVID-19 and all this riots and all this, and it feels like there's so many emotions that are either coming to the surface or presenting themselves or triggering deeper things that are already inside of us. And I feel like what would help is to find ways to deal with the stress instead of pushing it down or hiding from it or running from it, and finding ways to acknowledge what's happening and to feel what needs to happen or that's happening in a healing way. Is that making sense? I'm not giving anything specific yet, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I think a lot of it, a lot of what's happening right now is people are suppressing their emotions, suppressing their feelings, and they're not fully able to express. And maybe it's anger, or maybe
mm-hmm.
it's sadness, or maybe it's frustration. And I know there's a lot of domestic violence going right now, so things are getting expressed in an unhealthy way, because that's what's happening, for sure. And trying to find a way to express in a healthy, safe environment is what we're needing right now.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And a lot, I'm not going to say everybody, a lot of us, a lot of people haven't been given the tool to get these emotions out. And I'm going to share one of the tools that I use that's helped me, and a lot of people that know about this tool. And it is Jeanne, you know a little bit about this. I feel like bringing it in right now is appropriate.
Yeah.
The scream towel, and I'm bringing this in because let's see. So we have all these emotions going on, right? Anger regarding everything that's happening, everything that Jeanne just mentioned, and what do we do with it? Where does it go in a healthy way? The ways that I've learned is there's a meditation. There's many meditations, but this, you can use any part of it, and it's I call it, well, it's called Heart of the Matter, but it gets to the core of what's going on. But the specific thing is it gives you a space where you actually give yourself some time to feel, and maybe you go into your room and close the door and you put on some music. maybe you're sitting in your car and you put on a song and you feel some feelings and emotions coming up. This is a practice. I want to start that out with saying that it's a practice. It's not always like a flip of a switch, but put that song on, close the door and let the feelings come up. Let your tears come. If you're not a very emotional person, you have a hard time getting your emotions out, get out a pen and paper and just start writing everything that you're feeling. Don't edit it. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Don't judge it. You see how there's like an outlet. It's another tool. The third part actually is, which is using this hard amount of meditation. I call it a scream towel. I don't know, it's what it's called. And it's a way to safely get the anger out. If you're feeling, I'm just gonna name a couple of things: frustrated, anger, stuck, anxiety, if you're feeling overwhelm, those are just to name a few of those things. This towel can be very useful, and I'm going to simply just show you. And if anybody is listening or here has a hand towel, it's simple. You get this hand towel. It's a simple hand towel.
I'm just going to let you know your video is locked for some reason, so I don't know that people can see.
My video is locked. Huh.
Yeah, I see your face, but I'm not seeing.
Yours is also locked.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's just what's going on. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay. Okay, I just stopped the video and I restarted it again. So, okay, well, here I am, if I wasn't here before. So the scream towel, and it's a handy little thing to have. You can, I swear, when I first did this, I thought it was the weirdest thing. I just have to be honest. But once I got used to it, it's helped me in many, 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 many situations.
Yeah.
So get a hand towel, just fold it in half.
I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
It locks again.
Okay. Okay. So hand towel. So you get the hand towel and you fold it in half. Okay. And the purpose for this is, I'm gonna say one other thing is, kids, they put a tantrum and they're fine, right? They scream, they yell, and 2 minutes later they're okay.
It's usually us who have the issue.
It's us that at a certain point that's not okay to do. So we start pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down. So this is a way to get it out. And so you take the hand towel and you fold. Let me see if you guys can see me right. You take this and you fold this over, and then you cover one side. You cover your mouth. Then the other end, you want to protect your vocal cords. So try to make sure your hand towel is long enough that it can get to your throat. I'm going to kind of go to the side. And then you're like this, okay? You got it, Jeannie. You got it. And then what you do is, I'm going to say, you're going to close your eyes. You close your eyes and either focus on something, if it's not already at the surface, that you're frustrated about. Let's say there was a conversation, you're just like, oh my God, that person, I just can't take them anymore. So forth, just giving you examples. And bring that to the surface, and if you can't, don't worry about it. Jeannie's already laughing. You're gonna close your eyes, and on the count of 3, you're gonna scream. So, and when you do scream, from your belly, do your best. And like I said, this is a practice. You don't wanna hurt your vocal cords, hence you're holding your vocal cords. So you're protecting them.
I think it's a good idea to have your feet flat on the ground. Feet flat
on the ground. And you could do this sitting on the floor, cross-legged, however you feel doing it. So on the count of 3, Jean, you're gonna do this with me. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Keep your eyes closed. And just let yourself be. And I'm going to keep speaking. Now, for some people, when you do this, like I said, it's a practice. The reason you sit with your eyes closed for a minute is because you want to let whatever's coming up come up. If you feel more anger or still feel stuck, you can scream a few more times. If you're feeling tears, sometimes this opens up your heart. Because underneath the anger, for some people, there's pain and there's heartache. The anger is the surface of what's underneath. And then whenever you're ready, just checking in with yourself, notice if there is a shift and what that shift is. It could be simply something as simple as I feel lighter. I feel more space. And whatever it is, it's okay. There's no right or wrong way to do this. And if anybody, Jeannie, do you want to share, or if anybody?
It was really, well, it's nice to stop and reflect, because so many times we're on to the next thing, we're on to the next thing, we're on to the next thing, and we're just moving on and moving on and moving on. And we don't take a moment to feel our emotions, our feelings, what's coming up, all of that. And we just kind of moving on to the next. And to stop and to reflect and to feel whatever those emotions are: sadness, joy, pleasure, pain. Yeah. And then this calm, this peace comes over you when you acknowledge it. You give it. It's like you recognize the emotion. Like the emotion has its own intelligence, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been ignoring that emotion or that feeling that's inside you, and just suppressing and suppressing and suppressing. And then when you acknowledge it, like, yes, I see you fear, and I acknowledge it. I see you sadness, and I acknowledge that. I see you joy, or I see you pleasure, or I see you pain, and acknowledge it. It's like it just wants that like we all want, is that recognition or that acknowledgement. Like, yes, you're here. Yes, I see you. Yes, I feel you. Yes, I'm aware of that aspect of myself.
That's you pretty much summed it up there, and the the calming part, yeah, that comes, it can come naturally once you have acknowledged all of those things that you're describing. And we all have it. We all have all the spectrums of emotions that we have. And there's a tendency, I call it autopilot, the hamster wheel. Go, 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 go. And this is a way I also call, I use different words: pattern interrupt. You interrupt the pattern. Something simple. It takes 5 minutes, 2 minutes
Mm-hmm.
out of your day. Because another thing is some people don't feel like they have the time, but it's up to us as each individual to make the time. It's like 2 minutes, yeah? And then you do that and it brings you back. And it's a practical tool that you can use throughout your day. And the intensity, instead of carrying it with you throughout your day, you can like unplug as you need to. I used to have one, well, in one in my car. We used to have one at the desk office. One, you know, if you're having a staff meeting, or you know, hey, you can feel the intensity. Hey, you're going to use your towel. But you said something really important that stuck out to me is acknowledging your emotions. And we're so not used to that, or we don't know how. Or at the same time, I find with some people, not all, there's a fear. If I really feel what's in there, oh my God, like it feels it can't too much, yeah. So that's why you can do it in stages. And that also ties into physical pain, where if you're having physical pain in your body, it could be your back, it could be your head. If you, it's like the pain is speaking to you. Your body whispers to you. It's whispering to you. It's whispering, we don't listen. We don't listen. It's like your car saying, I need oil change. Like, no, you can go another 30,000 miles. The car's like, no, I need an oil change. No, I don't have the money for an oil change. We can keep going. And eventually your car's gonna, boom, blow an engine or do something, right? So you think of your body like that with the pain. And if you can listen to those whispers and actually go through specific techniques, you go into the pain. You ask the pain, you ask your body, what are you saying to me? What's your message? I haven't been listening. I want to understand you. You don't need to, you know, there's different ways of listening to them. What happens is by verbalizing and then energetically, and then also on a cellular level, the tightness, the muscles, like you described with the emotions, yeah? But the same thing happens, just goes, ah, you've heard me. And it relaxes.
Yeah, the recognition of one's own feelings, of one's own emotions. What I was fascinated with was that how loud I could get, and you can hear me.
Oh, you can get loud.
Oh my God, you know, because I was, yeah. So we could do this. I mean, so loud.
Yeah.
And it still sounds like, you know, it's not very loud at all when you hear it, but oh my God, yeah, you could really go off on.
It's, you can, instead of, you think about all the intensity, like you're saying, like that, the purpose of it is, yes, that it muffles the sound. The neighbors won't go, what's going on in there? Or, you know, it's, there is, you can actually really get to the core of it, the intensity that you're feeling inside. And it's, you connect to your life force also in a very deep way. um, with this could become you guys' best friend, maybe, if you let it.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's a great tool to share with people because I know there's a lot of frustration going on out there, a lot of anger, um, separation that we're creating. And I would say one of the big things that are happening right now is fear. And maybe you have a technique or a
for,
suggestion.
for
You know,
fear.
for people who are in fear, There's financial fear because, you know, we have so many businesses, especially in Kauai, even I'm sure elsewhere too. You're here on Kauai with me.
Yeah.
You know that, you know, Foodland is closing,
Yeah, I know.
and you know, just like all these businesses, we hear every day about a new business that is closing and shutting down. The value of the dollar, we don't know what's happening to inflation, you know, what's going on with the economy. So a lot is happening, and it's bringing up a lot of fear for people. There's financial fear, uh, relationship, isolation, loneliness. My girlfriend's mom is in long-term care, and she can't even get in to see her mom since March because of the COVID thing. And you know, when an elderly person, especially someone with dementia, doesn't see their family,
It's hard.
you know, they just start deteriorating, going
Mm-hmm.
downhill. And right now, it's shut down still, which hopefully things will start opening up. But what would you say about fear? Of course, there's a lot of different fears they're talking about, and there's a lot of different fears out there. So whatever speaks to you or resonates to you. Or...
Yeah, what you just said, fear. Whew, that's an not an in fear. There are many faces to fear, you know, and there's a couple of things that are coming to me as you're asking me. One is use this towel, scream through the fear. You know, fear is, you can use this to get through fear, believe it or not. And the other is, usually, I'm not saying this for everybody, but my experience has been underneath the fear. It's like, again, I'm gonna say practice, but it's stepping back for a minute and saying, okay, I'm in fear. Why am I in fear? And what's underneath the fear? Um, if you ask the question, if you give yourself a minute, the fear is a surface thing. Underneath it, like for example, there's fear around somebody being in the hospital, right? That's the fear. The fear is I can't see them. The fear is, so okay, I'm feeling this fear, but what's underneath the fear? I'm going to try my best to be clear here. Is, well, why am I in fear? Because I won't be able to see them. Okay, well, why are you afraid if you can't see them? Because something might happen to them. Well, what would happen? Well, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to say goodbye. You see where I'm going with this? And what would happen if I couldn't say goodbye to them? I would be heartbroken. Whew, I would be heartbroken. The feeling underneath all of that is heartbreak. That's just an example. Or if I went a little bit deeper with that, I'm not in control. And if I'm not in control, what or who is in control? If that resonates? That's just one. I hope that's helpful. Is if we, it's kind of hard, but it's because if fear is so real, it's a tangible feeling, and it can start controlling our lives and our actions. And it takes something to step back to, why am I afraid? And I guess what I'm trying to say is to try and see what's underneath the fear. And if you dig, you'll see something, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're all going through this deep night of the soul's journey, and we're all having to face our primal fears, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
Some people financial, some people relationships, some people health, you know. And to me, the journey, I'm actually excited about the journey, even though it's not very comfortable. But I'm excited because I could see what's on the other side of that. And to me, what's on the other side of that is us pushing through those fears and becoming stronger, becoming more focused, becoming more authentic, more real. I mean, I know that you went through a deep night of the soul's journey a while back.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to briefly talk about what you went through and where you were and where you are now that's brought you to this place, this amazing place where you...
Ooh. As you're asking me that question, what was coming to my mind was fear. How I've been in my life in the past in fear, yeah, and when I'm in fear now, I almost like have to remind myself. You remember that time you were so terrified and you didn't think anything was going to work out and it was impossible? There was no way you were going to get from point A to point B. Like, being in it, I couldn't see. It literally was like, no freaking way is that even going to happen. So being here now, oh yeah, I did make it across that hurdle. Oh, that was impossible. But now being here, looking back, I was terrified. I was beyond terrified in many points of my life. But somehow I got on the other side. So to me, that gives me, I want to say fiber, but more trust and faith from remembering that. And then I'll have to go through another experience and go, oh, that was even harder. And so as soon as I start thinking about those different points in my life in the past where there was extreme terror. I mean, no doubt there was the impossible upon the impossible. But then I'm like, how did I ended up here? So if I'm here right now and am terrified, don't know what's going to happen in the world, don't know if I'm going to be able to, if I have food in my mouth or pay my bills or if this relationship is going to work out because of all the intensity, all those things. In a minute right now, I almost want to say pull on that trust and faith that, like you just mentioned, there is light on the other side. There is light on the other side.
And that's stronger for it.
What was that?
You're a stronger person for it.
Yes, I'm a stronger person. I and all of us are who we are today because of those experiences, of making it through those and building that trust and that faith. And life comes up again, is like, oh, and I'm stronger for it. And that's why fear, it's a interesting topic to me right now. I don't want to say interesting because it's almost like you want to become hip to its game. The job of the fear, everyone is, you want to become hip to the fear's game because the fear is an illusion. Exactly. And that's the bottom line. Call it what you want, whatever terminology you want to use, it's okay. It's an illusion. And the job of the fear is to number one, separation. That's the bottom line, separation from yourself, from being real and honest and living your life to the fullest potential.
My take on on what it is. Yeah, I agree with
Mm-hmm.
everything that you're saying, and that fear is ego-based. And in the ego, I mean, the ego's job is to keep you safe,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. You know, we're going to keep you small, and we're going to make you, you know, insignificant because we don't want you to get attacked or have some, you know, tiger come and get you. We're going to make you small and insignificant. But, you know, that doesn't exactly serve us today, because if you're small and insignificant as a business owner, that you're not going to get very far. So it's like the ego planted that fear-based thought process in your mind to keep you safe, or it thought it was keeping you safe. It thought, oh, this is what we need to do to keep you safe. We need to have you have fear so you won't walk down that dark alley with those guys with bats at the end of the alley. You know, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's not a good place to walk late at night, 10 at midnight, you know, walking down that alley. But and so in that sense, you know, yeah, fear is useful, but in the sense where we have these untangible things that are causing fear, um, getting sick, or fear of, I mean, what were some of your fears? Were you going through that dark night of the soul's journey that you had?
Wow. My fears during that time, there was a lot mixed in together. It was fear of fear of failure, fear of, it's gonna sound odd, but fear of actually being successful. So
It's
there was it
good.
was intense fear of being successful, and
Mm-hmm.
what responsibilities would come with that.
Mm-hmm.
The burden in my mind, it was tied into so many things, but just, it was like, if I am successful, if I is a side by side failure, but then I'm going to be successful, and then what does that entail? Um, and in my mind, I thought that I would have to carry so much that I couldn't carry, or I didn't want to carry. Um, those were some of the things that were going through there, and also unworthiness.
A lot of that.
There was, and I'm again grateful for all the assistance that I had prior to the dark night of the soul, and then during my journey, and assistance from spirit, I have to say. And the unworthiness, anger, anger that wasn't necessarily, I wasn't conscious of it. I wasn't aware that I was angry. Um,
Well, you
like
weren't
to
allowed. You weren't allowed to be angry.
Yeah, it wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed to be angry. Like, we were talking about all the emotions, and I didn't have my voice. It wasn't okay to speak up, and there was frustration mixed in there with all of it, and also, God, why? Like, why is it like this? And why? And um, so I mean, like, there's so many things. It's a great question to ask, because when we speak about it, it's able to, it comes up, and to be able to share it. So I think those were quite a few things.
Spot.
Like, no, it's good. It's like deep wounds from life that I had uh, pushed down. I covered them up with the Band-Aid, even though I was doing a lot of well, I was doing self-work. I was blessed with many teachers. I was doing spiritual work. I was
Yeah.
um, doing healing work. I was, it was interesting for me. It was happening at the same time. And then there was this disconnect. And then I had to get real with myself. And I wasn't being real with myself. I wasn't. And I had my intervention. I call it, I'm gonna say the word God intervention, spirit intervention, but that's what it was. And it brought me way back to it broke down those remaining walls, those remaining layers. There's nothing else I could do but be real with myself. And by being real with myself and coming back to forgiveness and authenticity, and realizing that I have nothing to prove to anyone. I'm me, and this is who I am. And even speaking about right now, honestly, is just so much gratitude for loving myself finally. I can't fix the world. I can't fix other people. I can love, I can come from here, love here, be here, nurture here. And from there, what happens, yeah? And I had been maybe missing that little link, and then getting frustrated and angry because people weren't changing. The situation wasn't changing. My friends weren't changing. The environment wasn't changing. And on goes what the things outside weren't changing. And it was just like, hence more self-sabotage, more all these other negative things. And so it's been a journey, and the journey continues. It hasn't stopped, and it's not going to stop.
No, and I think it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I could really feel the emotion of what you were saying there, and how I see everyone's journey right now is very similar, where we're all coming back to our true authentic selves. This layer, this energy, this false face, these masks,
Yeah,
are coming down. And I'm so and it's like it's so funny that the mask was part of our consciousness, everybody's consciousness right now. And now we're like taking the mask off. And part of that is that we are in a place where we are being our true authentic selves. We are in a place where we cannot hide, we cannot pretend, we cannot act or fake it, or, it's like, it's become so prevalent and so obvious of what's real and what isn't real. And if we're not being real, never mind what we are to the public, but who we are to ourselves, and who we are in our hearts and what we're feeling. And that's why the protests and the energy, all of that is like, listen, we can't pretend anymore that this is okay, or that we're okay with this, or things are okay. It's like, no, it's like gotten to a place where we have to be real and honest and fair and loving and compassionate to all human beings, to each living thing on the planet.
Yes.
Not just humans. I mean, I'm talking about dolphins, I'm talking about whales, I'm
everything.
talking about fish, I'm talking about frogs, I'm talking about everything on the planet. That, we recognize that everything has value, and to honor and respect every aspect and every living thing on the planet. And especially, and number one is ourselves, coming to that place where we're loving and honoring and respecting ourselves.
That's beautiful how you said it, Jeannie. And it comes down to, that's where it starts from. And I think I spent, well, a lot of it focused so much on the outside. And it's like, oh, and when, that's the key, yeah? Because when you keep going in here, and for me, I don't know for anybody else, but it's not the easiest thing to do. It's so much easier. It's so freaking easier to be outside or not outside, but you know what I mean? It's that thing, focus on that. Let me fix that person. Let me do a session with that person. And then we just sit and go within. I'm just keeping it real. It hasn't always been the easiest thing to do because it's uncomfortable. There's no one else to face or blame, or not even blame, but to go within. There's no distraction. It's you, yourself, and God, spirit. It's just, okay, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I'm excited. I'm excited about what's on the other side of this journey that we're all on.
It is exciting. These are times.
So we're going to wrap things up. Tell people how they can get a hold of you and your cooking. Your beautiful.
Oh, yeah, my cooking. That too. Well, right now I don't have I'm working on a website for all the stuff that we've just been touching topics on here and there, stepping outside of my box here. So for now, you can get a hold of me through my email, which is OPINDER, D like David, @gmail.com. I'm also going to give my number here, which is fine. It's 808-212-6353. And I do cooking here on the island. As you know, I do Indian cooking. It's called Shakti Indian Cuisine, which I'm grateful that was a manifestation. That was not in my vision, but that's what I was called to do. So I get to serve food to people with lots of love and care. That website is Shakti, SHAKTIINDIAN cuisine.com. You can, if you're on the island and you want some Indian food, you can always call me for that as well.
Yay.
And feel free to call me. I mean, email me ideally, so that way I can respond to you. If you have any questions, you want any more information, I am here to serve.
Absolutely. And yeah, we're talking about doing a course coming up, so stay tuned. We'll send you some information about that. And you could reach us here at Dolphin Touch Wellness Center in Papa'a. You come to Kauai or you live here on the island, hopefully you stop in and visit our beautiful center and all the lovely offerings. We have Reiki, massage, acupuncture, intuitive readings, a lot of different things. And Opie does some beautiful work here as well. So thank you all for tuning in tonight, and we're happy to join you. This is Jeanne Russell with Conscious Conversations here at Dolphin Touch Wellness Center, dolphintouch.org. Akuya, blessings everyone.
Bye.